I think it makes sense to take some money off the table. We've had a terrific run. The mega cap technology stocks are clearly leading this market. I think they actually can do a bit better because they're taking market share in the cloud and they're taking revenue dollars. But given the year we've had, I think no one could criticize anyone for taking some money off the table.
Michael, same question to you. What should I do?
Tyler, I'm a little old school, so I think that time and not market timing make money. And I think that right now, when you see stocks making all-time highs, it's a good time to revisit your asset allocation and your discipline and make sure that the stock portion of your portfolio hasn't crept up and added risk that's unacceptable to you. But otherwise, this trend has been in place for a while. Lots of people have been trying to call the top. So while I'm always cautious, I reminded my father, who is 92 years old today, tells me to stay with the long-term focus and stay with the market.
But implicit in what you say, Michael, is that if your asset allocation has crept up in equities above the level that makes you comfortable, implicit in that would be sort of an agreement with Kirk that it wouldn't be a bad idea to pull back a little bit if that has happened.
No question about it. And certainly the numbers defend and argue for what Kirk's saying. But I think at times when the market gets really expensive like this, it's so easy to be emotional. When you get emotional is when you make mistakes. So look at the discipline. And if your allocation is to be 70% invested in stocks, and if over this year with stocks up 15%, you're looking at an 80% kind of an allocation, yes, take some off the table. Try to be tax sensitive and deliberate. Don't make an emotional decision, but be disciplined about it. And yes, take some off.
Kirk, let's talk about corporate tax rates very quickly, though, because here's where I'm confused a bit. If we reduce the corporate tax rate to 20, but then we eliminate a lot of the deductions, most companies pay about 20 right now on a net effective. After deductions, that's about the corporate tax rate in the United States. Some pay much more, some pay much less. Why do you think the market seems to be so reliant on this corporate tax cut?
Well, I think the thought is that the middle class will have more money to spend. Whether that's true or not is an open question. But I think the thought is that there would be a lot more money in the system, and that's clearly stimulatory. As I've talked about before, what I worry about is the deficit and higher interest rates. So I think what will be interesting is if tax cuts go through, you're going to have a larger deficit. I think the Fed is going to continue to raise rates, and that, on the other hand, could slow things down. So it'll be interesting how it plays out.